The Imperium of man is vast, with countless worlds spread across the galaxy. But these stars are home to far more than human civilization. They are filled with alien horrors that threaten humanity's survival. The Orcs, with their brute strength and relentless brutality. The Tyranids, a swarm of consuming monstrosities. The Eldar, elusive and unpredictable. The Necrons, an ancient soulless race that seeks to reclaim the galaxy. And the Tau, a technologically advanced empire spreading its influence through diplomacy and a unique philosophy of unification under the concept of the greater good. Against these Xenos threats stands the Deathwatch, the elite force drawn from the finest warriors of the Adeptus Astartes. They do not fight for glory, and their victories often go unrecorded. But without their silent vigil, the Imperium would fall to these alien powers. As the galaxy splits apart with the emergence of the Cicatrix Maledictum, also known as the Great Rift, the Deathwatch's mission has never been more vital. Alien threats that once lay dormant have reawakened. The Necrons, once a distant legend, now reclaim their tomb worlds. Tyranid hive fleets evolve and adapt at a terrifying rate, and the Tau Empire seeks to expand its influence across the stars. The Deathwatch stands ready, but the challenges they face have only grown more dangerous as the galaxy descends further into chaos. In this video, we will explore the origins of the Deathwatch, their recruitment and training process, the legendary kill teams they deploy, and their place in Imperial history. Along the way, we'll also dive into some of the Deathwatch's greatest campaigns and the enduring legacy of these elite warriors. To truly understand the Deathwatch, we must go back to one of the Imperium's darkest times, the War of the Beast in the 32nd millennium. This massive Orc war threatened to engulf the galaxy, led by an unstoppable warlord known only as the Beast. Entire star systems were overrun, and even Terra, the heart of the Imperium, was at risk of falling to the Greenskins. It was during this time that Lord Commander Courland, known as the Last Son of Dawn, realized that conventional warfare was insufficient to stop this unprecedented Orc threat. Courland had enacted the Last Wall Protocol, an ancient order left by Rogel Dawn, Primarch of the Imperial Fists. This protocol was a contingency plan for the day when Terra itself might be threatened. It called for all successor chapters of the Imperial Fists to reunite as a single legion, recreating the last wall of defense around the Imperial Palace, as they had done during the Horus Heresy. With the successor chapters rallied, Courland knew that the Imperial Fists and their successors were masters of defensive warfare, experts at holding ground and fortifying positions. But he also realized that the Imperium needed something more, a flexible and adaptable force that could take the fight directly to the Orcs. The Greenskins, unpredictable and chaotic, couldn't be defeated by defense alone. To combat this threat, Courland initiated the creation of the first Deathwatch kill teams. These elite Astartes warriors, drawn from multiple chapters, were designed to execute critical offensive missions, such as assassinating Orc warlords, sabotaging war engines, and destabilizing enemy supply lines, striking where the Orcs were most vulnerable. Their success in the War of the Beast was undeniable, and the Ordo Xenos formally established the Deathwatch as its militant arm during the Apocryphon Conclave of Orite. The Deathwatch has since stood as the ultimate line of defense against the galaxy's Xenos threats. Now that we've explored how the Deathwatch was formed, let's look at how they've played a key role in defending the Imperium throughout history. Since its formal establishment, the Deathwatch has been involved in many pivotal campaigns, defending the Imperium from threats both known and emerging. Unlike other Space Marine chapters that focus on grand, large-scale battles, the Deathwatch operates with a different philosophy. They engage in covert operations and precision strikes, aimed at eliminating specific Xenos threats before they can grow too large. Take the First Tyrannic War, for example. When Hive Fleet Behemoth first descended upon the galaxy, the Deathwatch was tasked with disrupting the Tyranid swarms by targeting synapse creatures like Hive Tyrants. Their surgical strikes played a key role in crippling the coordination of Tyranid forces, buying precious time for Imperial defenders. The Octarius War is another example where the Deathwatch played a critical role in mitigating a larger conflict. The Octarius War was a brutal conflict between the Orcs and Tyranids. At first glance, some might wonder why the Imperium would interfere in a war between Orcs and Tyranids, two of humanity's greatest enemies. Why not just let them destroy each other? However, the reality is far more dangerous. Orcs release spores throughout their lives, especially upon death, which leads to new generations of Orcs growing in the area. Meanwhile, Tyranids feed on biomass, absorbing everything in their path to grow stronger. Without intervention, both forces would only become more dangerous. Recognizing this, the Deathwatch struck from the shadows, eliminating key bioforms within the Tyranid swarm while disrupting Orc operations. Their interventions were essential to preventing either Xenos faction from gaining the upper hand and stopping the conflict from spilling into more vulnerable sectors of Imperial space. The Damocles Gulf Crusade is yet another example of the Deathwatch's critical role in safeguarding the Imperium. This campaign, which pitted the Imperium against the technologically advanced Tau Empire, was one of the first major conflicts between these two forces. At first, the Tau was seen as a lesser threat, but their rapid expansion and sophisticated weaponry quickly turned them into a significant adversary. During the Crusade, the Deathwatch was tasked with destabilizing key Tau operations. By infiltrating deep into Tau space, Deathwatch kill teams targeted critical command structures, sabotaging communication relays and assassinating key Tau leaders, including Ethereals, whose influence over Tau society is paramount. These precise, devastating strikes stymied the Tau's expansion into Imperial territories, halting their encroachment and buying valuable time for the Imperium to reorganize its forces. The Tau, known for their highly coordinated, technology-driven tactics, were unprepared for the guerrilla-style warfare of the Deathwatch. The Deathwatch's ability to exploit the Tau's reliance on advanced technology and their intimate knowledge of Tau weaknesses made them indispensable in this conflict. The Crusade may have ended in a ceasefire, but the role of the Deathwatch in disrupting the Tau war machine was a vital element in preserving the Imperium's hold on the region. Beyond the large-scale battles against Tyranid hive fleets, the Deathwatch is also tasked with combating the more insidious threats posed by the Tyranids. One such threat is the Gene Stealer cults. These cults represent one of the most dangerous forms of Xenos infiltration within the Imperium. Gene Stealers embed themselves deep within human societies, spreading their alien infection through hybrid offspring and subverting Imperial citizens to their cause. Over time, entire worlds can fall under their influence, with populations unknowingly preparing the way for the arrival of a Tyranid hive fleet. The Deathwatch has become the Imperium's most effective tool for rooting out these hidden threats. Unlike typical Xenos enemies, Gene Stealer cults operate in secrecy, making them far harder to detect. The Inquisition often relies on the Deathwatch's expertise in alien biology and infiltration to identify and eradicate these cults before they can call down a hive fleet. Executing surgical strikes against cult leaders, neutralizing infestations before they spread, and preventing the cults from summoning the Tyranids are all within the purview of the Deathwatch. These operations are often covert, with Deathwatch kill teams slipping in and out of infested worlds without the wider Imperial populace ever knowing their world was on the brink of destruction. Now that we've seen their role in history, let's explore how Space Marines are recruited into the Deathwatch and trained for this unique role. To join the Deathwatch is an honor few Astartes ever experience. Space Marines from many different legions are selected to serve the long vigil, and the Deathwatch takes only the best, the most hardened, skilled warriors. But even for a veteran Astartes, service in the Deathwatch is no easy task. A Marine might come from a chapter like the Blood Angels, known for their aggressive close combat prowess, or from the Iron Hands, whose doctrine revolves around ranged firepower and mechanical augmentation. The Deathwatch brings these different philosophies together, but this creates a unique challenge. Each Marine must learn to work alongside warriors who may fight in radically different ways. For example, the Ultramarines are known for their strict adherence to the Codex Astartes, a comprehensive set of rules and tactics laid down by their Primarch, Robut Guilliman. This disciplined, structured approach can seem overly rigid to a space wolf who favors individual heroism and a more instinctual fighting style. Similarly, a White Scar, known for lightning-fast assaults, might find the slow, deliberate tactics of an Imperial fist frustrating. This diversity of combat philosophies can create tension, but when harnessed correctly, it makes a Deathwatch kill team adaptable and highly effective. The transition to the Deathwatch is more than just physical training. Marines must abandon their old identities, sometimes working alongside brothers they once saw as rivals. For a space wolf, the rigidity of an Ultramarine's discipline might feel stifling. For an Iron Hand, a White Scar's wild tactics might seem reckless. And yet, they must forge these differences into strength. For the enemies they face require more than just brute force. They demand cunning and adaptability. Deathwatch Marines undergo extensive training, not just in combat, but also in Xenos lore. The Deathwatch archives contain centuries of knowledge on alien biology, tactics, and technology. A Deathwatch Marine must know the weaknesses of every Xenos species they might face, from Tyranid bioforms to Eldar psychers. Their war gear is equally specialized, including custom ammunition tailored to the alien foes they face, such as acid rounds for melting Tyranid armor or plasma-infused rounds for piercing Necron technology. With such rigorous training and preparation, it's no wonder that Deathwatch kill teams are some of the most elite combat units in the galaxy. At the heart of the Deathwatch's combat effectiveness are their kill teams. These are not your typical squads of Space Marines. They are small, highly specialized groups of warriors, each chosen for their expertise in dealing with a specific Xenos threat. A kill team might consist of a Devastator Marine from the Iron Hands, a heavy weapons specialist, paired with an Assault Marine from the Blood Angels, who excels in close-quarters combat. A Raven Guard Scout might provide stealth and reconnaissance, while a Salamander, armed with a flamer, brings raw destructive power. These teams are carefully balanced, with each Marine playing a critical role in achieving the mission's objectives. Kill teams often operate behind enemy lines, striking quickly and with deadly precision. Whether it's assassinating a Hive Tyrant to sever the Tyranid chain of command, or destroying a Necron tomb before its warriors can fully awaken, Deathwatch kill teams are the spearhead of the Imperium's war against the Xenos. However, each Xenos threat requires a unique approach. Against the technologically advanced Tau, the Deathwatch employs stealth to avoid detection by their drone networks, but they also exploit the Tau's over-reliance on ranged combat and their rigid command structures. By closing the gap quickly and engaging the Tau in close combat, where they are weakest, the Deathwatch can neutralize them effectively before they can bring their superior firepower to bear. When dealing with Necron tombs, the mission becomes even more perilous. Necron tombs are often heavily guarded and programmed to awaken automatically under certain conditions. This means that Deathwatch kill teams not only have to destroy the tomb before its warriors fully awaken, but also contend with active Necrons and complex defense systems designed to protect the tomb's secrets. These missions require a balance of swift action and technical precision. In the case of the Eldar, their mastery of the webway and their elusive nature make them a more cunning foe. Targeting Eldar webway portals is essential, but precision strikes must also focus on eliminating key Eldar leaders like Farseers or Warlocks. By disrupting their psychic coordination and defenses, the Deathwatch can prevent the Eldar from using their superior speed and misdirection to outmaneuver Imperial forces. With their kill teams operating across the galaxy, the Deathwatch has produced many legendary warriors whose names are etched into the annals of history. The Deathwatch has been home to some of the most legendary warriors in the history of the Adeptus Astartes. One such figure is Watch Captain Artemis, originally from the Mortifactors chapter. His rise to prominence came during various Xenos purges, where his ability to predict alien movements made him a critical asset to the Deathwatch. Artemis has led several successful campaigns against Orcs and Tyranids, and his leadership continues to inspire new recruits. Another famous veteran is Asker Warfist, a fierce space wolf who became one of the most celebrated watchmasters of the Deathwatch. His unorthodox tactics, rooted in the savage ferocity of Fenris, often defied the expectations of his peers. Warfist's daring raids and fearless leadership in countless operations have left a lasting mark on the Deathwatch. Watch Master Mordalai, commander of Watch Fortress Talassa Prime in the Ultima Segmentum, is another prominent figure. Originally from the Imperial Fists, Mordalai is known for his stern demeanor and highly efficient approach to warfare. He earned the trust of Chapter Master Marneus Calgar of the Ultramarines and played a key role in adapting the Deathwatch to the Primaris Marines after the Ultimaris Decree by Primarch Robuta Guilliman. The Ultimaris Decree was issued by Guilliman during the era Indomitus, when the Primaris Marines, new, enhanced versions of the Adeptus Astartes, were introduced to reinforce the Imperium's struggling forces. This decree allowed for the widespread deployment of these superhuman warriors across all chapters, including the Deathwatch. Mordalai was instrumental in developing the Fortis, Indomitor, and Spectrus kill team structures, allowing the Primaris Marines to integrate seamlessly into the Deathwatch and prove their worth during the conflicts of the era Indomitus. But these legendary warriors don't operate alone. Their efforts are coordinated from the hidden Watch fortresses spread across the galaxy. The Deathwatch operates from secretive strongholds known as Watch fortresses, scattered throughout the galaxy in areas of high Xenos activity. These fortresses are more than just military bases. They are vast repositories of knowledge, containing records of every Xenos species the Deathwatch has encountered. One of the most famous is Watch Fortress Eriok, located in the Jericho Reach. Here, the Deathwatch stores priceless artifacts and forbidden alien technologies, relics too dangerous to be left unchecked. Only the most senior Watchmasters have access to these vaults, and the knowledge they contain is guarded fiercely. The fortress also serves as a base of operations for kill teams in the region, allowing them to launch missions deep into enemy territory. These fortresses are the nerve centers of the Deathwatch's eternal war against the Xenos, providing the necessary logistics, intelligence, and resources. They also serve as rally points for kill teams to resupply, train, and share vital intelligence about the various Xenos species they face. Among the most terrifying of these Xenos threats are the Tyranids, a biological swarm of unimaginable ferocity, capable of consuming entire worlds. The Tyranid menace is a challenge that the Deathwatch has fought relentlessly to contain. Let's now dive deeper into the strategies and missions that the Deathwatch employs to combat this existential threat. Of all the enemies the Deathwatch faces, the Tyranids remain among the most terrifying. These bioengineered monstrosities have one purpose: to consume all life, leaving barren worlds in their wake. For the Deathwatch, understanding Tyranid biology is crucial to every mission. Their strategy often revolves around targeting key synapse creatures like hive tyrants or broodlords, whose psychic control maintains the cohesion of the swarm. Severing this network throws the swarm into disarray, allowing the Deathwatch to exploit the chaos and cripple the Tyranid advance. However, engaging Tyranid bioforms on the ground is only part of the fight. The Deathwatch often deploys kill teams to infiltrate Tyranid bioships, massive living vessels that serve both as transport and as feeding organisms for the Hive fleet. These missions are among the most perilous operations the Deathwatch can undertake. Bioships are brimming with predatory Tyranid forms, bred specifically to defend their vessel. Once inside, kill teams must navigate through living corridors of flesh and sinew, all while evading the ship's natural defense mechanisms. The Deathwatch targets key biological structures within the bioship, such as neural nodes and digestion chambers. Destroying these vital areas often kills the ship from within, preventing it from unleashing its bioforms on an Imperial world. However, failure often leads to the gruesome fate of being consumed alive by the very creature they sought to destroy. The Deathwatch's role in combating the Tyranid threat is vital. While larger Imperial forces might engage the Tyranids in grand, open battles, it is often the precise strikes of the Deathwatch that make these engagements possible. Their deep knowledge of Tyranid physiology and swarm tactics enables them to perform surgical strikes that weaken the Hive fleet long before it reaches populated worlds, giving the Imperium a fighting chance. Now that we've explored the horror of the Tyranids, let's dive into one of the Deathwatch's most mysterious elements, the Black Shields. Among the ranks of the Deathwatch, there exists an enigmatic group of warriors known as the Black Shields. These Astartes have renounced their former chapters, erasing their identities and donning black armor devoid of insignia. Their reasons for doing so remain shrouded in mystery, even to their fellow Deathwatch Marines. Rumors and whispers about their origins abound. Some suggest that Black Shields may come from chapters that have been destroyed, excommunicated, or dishonored, seeking redemption through service. Others speculate that they might be survivors of shattered or forgotten legions, hoping to reclaim their honor through the long vigil. While the idea that some Black Shields might be former chaos-tainted space marines who renounced the ruinous powers persists, such rumors are highly controversial and unlikely. The Deathwatch, and the Imperium as a whole, are incredibly wary of any potential chaos corruption, making the acceptance of a former Chaos Marine into the Deathwatch almost impossible. For most Black Shields, their quest for redemption lies in atoning for personal failures or the fall of their chapter, rather than in betraying the Imperium or dabbling in heresy. They are warriors who carry deep, unspoken burdens, fighting with a ferocity that suggests they have nothing left to lose. Because their pasts are often kept secret, other Deathwatch Marines may view Black Shields with suspicion, unsure of the true nature of their motivations. However, time and again, Black Shields prove their loyalty through action, taking on the most dangerous and suicidal missions. Their presence within kill teams brings a unique intensity, as these warriors fight as if their very souls depend on the outcome. While their identities remain erased, their contributions to the Deathwatch are undeniable. As mysterious as the Black Shields are, the Deathwatch's relationship with the Inquisition can be just as fraught with tension. The Deathwatch and the Ordo Xenos of the Inquisition share a common purpose: the protection of the Imperium from Xenos threats. However, their methods often differ, leading to tension. The Deathwatch focuses on the direct, tactical elimination of alien enemies through precise strikes, neutralizing threats before they can endanger humanity. In contrast, the Inquisition sometimes pursues broader, long-term strategies, which may include studying alien technology or capturing Xenos leaders for interrogation to gather intelligence. This divergence in approach can cause friction, especially when the Deathwatch perceives an Inquisitor's plan as too risky or impractical. While the Deathwatch holds unparalleled knowledge of alien warfare, the Inquisition retains ultimate authority. Outright defiance of an Inquisitor's orders is extremely rare, as the Deathwatch is bound by their duty to obey. However, this doesn't mean they follow orders blindly. Deathwatch commanders often present their superior understanding of Xenos to influence the Inquisitor's decisions. In many cases, this can result in adjustments to the original strategy, as even Inquisitors recognize the Deathwatch's tactical expertise. An example of such tension arose during an unnamed Necron tomb world awakening, where the Necrons threatened to destroy an entire system. An Inquisitor involved in the mission wished to study the Necron Overlord to learn more about the dynasty's plans, believing this information could help safeguard other systems in the long run. However, the Deathwatch kill team, knowing the immense risk of leaving a Necron leader alive, prioritized eliminating the Overlord. Understanding that Necrons are nearly impossible to capture and that their advanced technology posed far too great a threat, the kill team carried out their mission with precision, preventing a larger catastrophe, while diplomatically persuading the Inquisitor of the necessity to act swiftly. This incident highlights the delicate balance between the Deathwatch's loyalty to the Imperium and their understanding of the Xenos threats they combat. While they may disagree with the Inquisition's broader strategies at times, their disciplined nature ensures that direct defiance is avoided. Instead, they rely on their expertise and the trust they've built within the Imperium to subtly steer operations toward the most effective course of action. Sabotage or subversion of an Inquisitor's orders would only happen in the most extreme situations, as the Deathwatch's loyalty remains absolute. More often than not, the Deathwatch works to align their tactical objectives with the Inquisition's broader strategies, ensuring both immediate security and long-term protection for the Imperium without unnecessary risk. As the galaxy continues to change and evolve, the Deathwatch must adapt to face these new threats, all while maintaining their ancient traditions. The Deathwatch's legacy stretches across millennia, and their work is far from done. As the Imperium faces ever-evolving threats, the Deathwatch adapts, learning from their enemies and using that knowledge to better protect humanity. One emerging challenge is the rise of the Tau Empire, a technologically advanced Xenos race steadily expanding its influence. While the Tau are not yet the gravest threat to the Imperium, their rapid expansion and advanced weaponry have drawn the Deathwatch's attention. Kill teams have been deployed to study Tau tactics, seeking to develop countermeasures against their battlefield precision and advanced technologies. However, the Tau are just one of many threats. In the wake of the Cicatrix Maledictum, more commonly known as the Great Rift, the galaxy has been split into two halves, the Imperium Sanctus and the Imperium Nihilus. The latter, shrouded in warp storms and isolated from the light of the Astronomicon, is home to some of the deadliest Xenos threats, along with constant chaos incursions and unpredictable warp phenomena. Within this dangerous and unstable region, watch fortresses stand as lone bastions of Imperial authority, operating in complete isolation. Cut off from reinforcements and supplies, these fortresses are all that remain to defend against the alien horrors and chaos warbands that besiege the Imperium Nihilus. These watch fortresses must rely on their own ingenuity, resourcefulness, and the knowledge they have amassed over centuries of fighting Xenos threats. Kill teams operating in the Imperium Nihilus face challenges beyond what their counterparts in the Imperium Sanctus endure. Yet, their work remains vital. Without them, entire sectors would be overrun, and the fragile grip the Imperium holds over this region would collapse, leaving humanity's future even more uncertain. For over 10,000 years, the Deathwatch has stood as the Imperium's shield against the alien menace. Their victories may go unrecorded, their sacrifices unknown, but without them, the Imperium would have fallen long ago. The Deathwatch operates in the shadows, striking with precision and lethality to eliminate threats before they can overwhelm the Imperium. Their vigil is eternal. For as long as the Imperium endures, so too will the Deathwatch. They are the silent protectors, standing between humanity and the countless alien horrors that seek to destroy it. As the galaxy continues to spiral into chaos, their mission becomes even more vital. The enemies they face may be innumerable, but the Deathwatch remains resolute. Their duty is to protect the Imperium from the Xenos threat, and that duty will never end.